Alright, you guys, and welcome back to another video. So, before I start this video off, CIG just released a new 323 patch, um, and 323 EPTU is now in Wave 2. And if you guys want to jump in and check out the new patch, you're gonna need the new launcher. I will leave that linked in the video description below if you guys haven't downloaded it and have all that stuff set up yet. Okay. Now I don't know who all is going to be in Wave 2. And I honestly don't even know how you would check that. But I did hop in really quickly to test it out before I recorded this video, and CIG has made some pretty good improvements to it, and I wanted to record a video about that, but I ran into some bugs and I just decided that it's getting late. I'd rather just kind of talk about what we're kind of the other big update that also came out today, and that is the roadmap roundup. This is essentially where CIG goes over the updates that are coming to the roadmap, and there has been some controversy about this roadmap roundup. So let's just get into it and take a look at what's actually going on here. So happy Wednesday, everybody. Okay, inside all of that, notable changes for April. Release view. Okay, as part of our final review process, we've concluded that the quality of the cargo features that were targeting the launch of Alpha 323.0 are not yet at the stage we need them for release to the live servers. The freight elevators and instance hangars in particular are technologically complex features that will require a bit more work before we feel comfortable fully integrating them into the game. This additional time allows the team to test for additional edge cases and include further refinements, which is especially important for features as impactful as these, which is true, something that I definitely said, but we'll get into that. We are not currently planning on shifting them back a full patch cycle. The features below will remain in 323 column on release view, but are now targeting a 323.x release. Okay, so that is the item banks, that is the personal and instance hangars, that is the new missions, cargo hauling, and the freight elevators. And I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed by this, and kind of rightfully so. CIG has been very cavalier and gung-ho and ambitious about this patch, initially saying that it would drop in the first quarter of 2024. We're now in the beginning of the second quarter of 2024, and I kind of figured that that would be the case. There are a lot of new features in this patch. It's a very big patch, very complex patch. The map alone is huge. The new map updates mobi-glass interaction features, master modes, animals, distribution centers. That's just a lot of stuff to put in one patch, and CIG again was very ambitious with it. And I said early on that if that is their plan, this needs to be in PTU for a long time. We should have had it in our hands earlier. I honestly think that this is the right move for CIG to make. This cannot go to live and be buggy and broken. Like right now, when I hop into PTU, and again, like I said, I was about to make a video about this new patch, and there are things that are really good about it. The new map is really good. A bunch of other small things. My biggest gripe with this patch right now is the interaction system. It is very unreliable. It is kind of buggy. When you go and you walk up to things in the shop, the UI kind of glitches behind other items. You really just have to get into the game and play it and see it to really know how bad it is. In my opinion, it is the UI and the way it looks and functions is better than the current interaction system. Okay, but its current functionality, how it actually works, is leagues worse than the live experience. You could go up to a door and you hit F for it to open, and it will just do nothing, and there's no feedback to know what's going on. Or you might go to buy an item and you hit F, and the cashier tells you, good purchase, you're really gonna like that item, but you have no idea what's happening. And then all of a sudden it will kind of switch where you'll get the full card experience where you have to hold F to buy the item. It is just, it's up and down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if it's tied to server performance or what's going on with it, but it is just, it's very, very buggy. And the interaction system is one of those things that you don't want that to be buggy, because you can't play the game without interacting. I would go up to the aSOP terminal and I would hit F to use the aSOP terminal and nothing would happen. And I'll be just hitting F over and over and nothing will happen. And then I'll walk away and just assume that the aSOP terminal is broken. And then like a minute later, I'll teleport to the aSOP terminal and I'll be using it. I don't know if it's desync or what's going on with the interaction system, but it is weird. My experience with it has been very weird, and I have not been able to play the game in enjoyable manner. And again, like I said, I've been trying to record videos for you guys to get content out about 323, but it's just been like, I don't want to show you guys it in this state because, again, it's not a great representation of what it actually is. And obviously other content creators have been playing this patch and having a much better experience than me. I just, for whatever reason, have been really struggling with the interaction system. So again, that's kind of my mentality around Sergi needs this to be in the oven longer. Fleet Week is coming up. Big ship sales are coming up. Free fly events are coming up. It really cannot be this buggy. It needs to be smooth. People need to be able to get into the game and kind of see what Stars is all about. And I want that. I want that for CIG. I don't want them to have another 318 fiasco on their hands. And that's the problem when you promise all of these things, you have to deliver. It's, well, people can be disappointed by this stuff because, you know, they see CitizenCon and all the tech and all this kind of stuff, and it hypes people up. It does. And when they don't get that stuff, it is disappointing. It's not that CIG is doing a bad job. They're not. It's just a regular. Again, I've been in this community for a decade. You know, I've seen it all at this point. This, in my opinion, is par for the course. You know, CIG, they say that they're going to release all of this stuff, and the reality is you really just gotta take a step back and just wait and see what happens, because you know, you don't want to get your hopes up until it's in live. Okay, until it's in live, we don't know if it's going to be a good experience or not. Okay, but yes, I am glad that CIG is postponing this stuff. The last thing you want is for such important technological features to be broken. It's worse than not having them at all. If you can't even play the game, like, you need to be able to call your ship, you need to be able to use the cargo elevator. That stuff is critical to actually playing the game and having a good experience. So if that stuff doesn't work, keep it in the oven, keep working on it, figure it out. Okay, but there are other things going on that, again, on a lighter note, All very good. So Vulkan Graphics API support. This was recently added into the PTU, where you can just go into your settings and you can switch from DirectX 11 to Vulkan, and then you just have to restart your game. Right now, this is just for single core. I think they're working on making this multi-core and adding that in. This basically just says that converting Star Citizen's renderer from DirectX 11 to Vulkan API. This allows, spreading GPU submission work over many CPU cores and enables many new tech features and stuff like that. Okay, then we have water simulation and rendering improvements. Okay, the water is looking a lot better in 323, and I think they limited there was a video going on online of somebody dropping an A2 bomb into the water and the water just completely freaking out. I think they limited the height of how reactive the water can be. So they're making improvements on that. Moby-Glass rework. They moved Moby-Glass to building blocks, and in the video that I was trying to record, they added this kind of like parallax movement to the Moby-Glass. So kind of as you move around the Moby-Glass, the entire screen will move with your mouse where your mouse is on that portion of the screen. And I think that parallax effect is what was broken initially during wave one, where some people's Moby-Glass was just kind of at an angle off screen, but that's kind of working now. So again, as you move around the Moby-Glass interface, it's like rotating your wrist, I guess, is how that kind of is supposed to be. And there are new apps in there, beacons. You can now set different reputation levels and small stuff like that. They've reworked the when you go into the missions, the verified and unverified tab has changed from just like a little switch to now unverified is all in red. So it is clearly defined. Seiji kind of took the feedback from the community, and they've already implemented kind of a new version of that, and I think it's good. And that's kind of the power of building blocks, is that CIG can iterate on that stuff very quickly. Then we have the FPS loot screen, kind of introducing, when you're looting, you now have this kind of like quick loot system. Feedback about that from the community is kind of on and off, because it is, just looting a gun and equipping it and doing that stuff. Some people are still kind of finding that is kind of a long experience, but again, it's another one of those things where I know so many people are so used to the old system that it might take some getting used to. FPS map system, this is huge. Again, you have a mini map at the top left hand corner of your helmet and your lens, so you can hit Alt H to equip and unequip your helmet, and that will change the minimap from this square map to a little circle, and be a little bit less invasive. And right now, just based on the testing that I've done, being able to the way you drop a pin, you could name it. For one thing, you can name a pin that you drop, but in my testing right now, the routing doesn't work. So you could drop a pin, but when you go to route to that location, it just doesn't work. It just routes you to some random spot. Visor and lens HUD rework, that's kind of what we talked about, converting the old visor and lens system. So now the minimap changed, and I think that's kind of a good way for you to know if you're wearing a helmet or not. And I know a lot of people ran into that issue in the past. They'd step outside their ship and forget that they weren't wearing a helmet. Now, because the UI changes so much, you'll be able to notice, hey, I'm not wearing my helmet, my minimap is round instead of square, I don't have my compass, that type of thing. And I am really enjoying the compass and the star map. The star map is so much better than the current star map. It's crazy. CIG did do a lot of work. They took the community's feedback about the readability of things, and I feel like the readability of the new star map is a little bit better. As you move around the star map, you can see different things, hover over things, and get more information. It really is worth it, and we'll get to that. Player interaction experience, again, this is one of those things where I say this is the biggest issue with 323 for me personally right now, is the unreliability of the system. I don't think it's a bad system, it's just a very unreliable system right now in PTU, to the point where, you know, I'm waiting 5 minutes for my ship, I'm waiting 5 minutes for elevator. The desync on the player interactions is just crazy. Some things work instantly. You see the kind of no the little floating F UI. You tap F and it does that animation, and your character does it instantly, and it's amazing and it feels great. But then there's sometimes where you're pressing to open the door for your ship like 10 times and absolutely nothing is happening. And that's really rough. That absolutely needs to get worked out before this thing goes to live. That's kind of the worst bug that I'm really experiencing right now so far in 323, is with the player interaction experience. EVA Tier 2, again, this is very cool. The getting in and out of your ship, it just works. It's just smooth, it's just good. The animations coming in and out, your character, you know, Superman flying all around space, you know, their hands reaching out. I know some people didn't like the hands reaching out. I love it. I think it is really immersive. It's really good. Obviously, you're going to try to brace yourself if you run into a structure, like let's say you know, you're EVAing in space, and because your momentum, you're going to hit the side of your ship. You put your hands out to not, you know, bump your head. I think it looks and feels really good. You know, as someone who does salvage, you know, I will often leave the ship to go to the salvage ship and check for cargo and do different things. So I EVA a lot doing salvage. So I am ecstatic about about this feature, being able to just leave my ship easily and not face plant. It's so much better. I'm so glad we're getting this new EVA improvement. And again, of course, the Star Mac rebook, I talked about that. You can use your right mouse button to actually hold the map and drag it around, so you're not locked into the center. So let's say that you're looking at Microtech, you can click your right mouse button and you can move it over to the side. You can orbit with your left mouse button as usual, and of course zoom in and out with your mouse scroll wheel. It's very intuitive and it is very reactive. So, you know, when you mess with it, again, it's one of those things that it just works. You kind of don't have to worry about it. The new map is leagues better than the old one. I'm very glad that we're getting that in. Master modes. Again, I haven't really tried this with a whole lot of ships because the ASAP terminals for me have just been a nightmare. It's taken me like just a very long time to call ships and just deal with that. I don't know why, but the ASAP terminals are just very weird in my experience. So I've only been able to get out a handful of ships. Right now with master modes, I know a lot of people are very against it, and some people are like, hey, it's not that big of a deal, we just need to get used to it. I do think that CIG is trying to get this feature in as soon as possible so they can test, so they can balance, because they want more new players to come into the game. Well, essentially, they don't want a lot of new players to come into the game with the old flight model, and then when they release a new flight model, there's so many people that are used to the old flight model that there's even more pushback. So the sooner that they can get a new flight model in place, the sooner they don't have to worry about people relearning a new mechanic, because it's kind of the biggest issue right now with people is that it's just something that's new and different, and the systems that they're used to, they're gonna have to untrain themselves from those things. And I made a bunch of videos about master mode, so I'm not going to get into too much detail about it now. But I can't say I like it or dislike it. It's just very weird for me. Personally, I think it's dumb that we have no shields in nav mode. I just do. Like, as an industrial player, do some balance stuff. I don't know. I think it makes no sense. I think it's dumb. We should have shields at all times, every time, no matter what mode we're in. I understand having the speed changes, because combat at low speed makes sense. I understand having the weapons changes. The weapons changes are actually really nice. I'm glad that they're getting rid of the gimbal size down nonsense. But the no shields, I don't think that makes sense. I know that they want to do for gameplay reasons to kind of force people to switch into combat mode, but that never works. You should never have to force your player base into engaging with the game system. You should make the game system good in the first place so the player wants to engage with it. Whenever you start talking about we have to encourage the player base to do this thing, then it's just not a good system. That's evidence that it's not a good system. And if it was a good system, they would want to, on their own accord, engage with that system. The fact that players are not engaging with that system is just kind of evidence that it's not good and it doesn't work. So in my personal opinion, bring back shields in nav mode. It makes no sense that it's not there. Some people have also had problems with, UI markers not being there when they're in combat mode. Again, it's one of those things that I think CIG has to play with, take more feedback for the community. Nothing's set in stone right now, so there's no reason to get too worked up about anything. But, that's just my opinion. I think it's okay right now. I feel like if they did that one change and brought shields to nav mode, I think everybody would be like, okay, this is great. Then we have new missions, creature hunting. This is very cool because as you're flying around on the planet, the copiums have little markers that you can see them down on the planet, and then you land, you can kind of sneak up to them and get them, and then of course you can harvest their horn. I think it's very cool to finally be able to see fauna in the game, in the wild, on Microtech and Hurston. It's more immersive, it's more cool. It's something that the player base have been wanting for a long time. Right now, again, there's just a lot of weird server issues, a lot of desync. They're kind of teleporting all over the place. Again, I have no idea what's going on with the servers. I know CIG is saying that they want to have replication layer enabled. The replication layer separation was supposed to happen in 3.22, actually 3.21, then it got pushed to 3.22, and now it's in 3.23. Replication layer separation, I don't know if that's what's causing all of this desync, but it's really weird. The Copian are cool. I'm glad we have these missions in as well as the fauna, because having the fauna would be cool, but now that we have missions to actually do something with this fauna, I'm glad CIG did that. And we can see here the fauna is the copium and the Marlock. Still no word on the Quasi-Grazer that we saw at CitizenCon, but it's fine. I don't think there's any real gameplay with the Quasi-Grazer, so I kind of rather have the Marlock and the copium where we can actually do missions and stuff with. Arena Commander Engineering Experimental Mode. Now this is something that a lot of people are kind of curious about. They don't No, the big question around this is it fun? Okay, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this because I've really only looked at it solo, and this is one of those things that you kind of have to do in a group of friends while in combat to get the full experience. But I kind of just got in Arena Commander solo and you know took a look at it. Now, in my personal opinion, a lot of people are worried mostly with this is one, is it going to be fun for a group of players, which I think it will. Um, and two, is it going to destroy solo gameplay for people with large ships? And again, I think that for a group of friends playing on a big ship and getting attacked and having to run around and deal with this stuff, I think that um it will be fun for a lot of people. For some people, it will be like, come on, what are we doing here? Um, but this is not the full implementation of engineering because, of course, this does not include, venting atmosphere out of rooms and fire suppression and all that kind of stuff. This is really just the first implementation of engineering where we have the relays and we can manage power and stuff with heat and whatnot. So the is it fun question, I don't think that matters right now because this is not the real engineering. This is just kind of like a part of engineering. Um, so I don't think we can answer the question of is it fun just yet. We definitely need to test it more. This is just, wave 2 PTU right now. So and again, it's not even in the game, it's in Arena Commander experimental mode. So I think it could be fun if you're in a large group of people. Now the question is, does it kill large ship gameplay for solo players? Yeah, I would say so because I would not hold my breath on NPCs. I just think that the servers are weird, desync is weird. Anything CAG does with NPCs is just weird, and buggy and unreliable. Right now, I think it's gonna take a lot more effort on CAG's part to figuring out their issues with the NPC and the AI. And I think maybe CAG just needs to put their heads down or really develop a whole team around figuring out that issue just to get it done. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath for AI in engineering. So this is something you're gonna need friends for. So if you're a solo player and you're running a big ship, run away from combat. Don't get into it because your systems will fail and you will get blown up. That's basically just what I've seen so far. Now that could change. CAG could balance it so where the components are not so vulnerable. Again, because it's Arena Commander, they might have just, you know, made them extra vulnerable so you can test out the gameplay. It's not indicative of the live experience. Then we have Arena Commander Grav Royale. This high-speed grav racing. CIG did post a picture of the handlebar for the new hover bike. Again, it's a meme, get kind of a throwback to the Luminalia Day gift, where it was just a picture of the hover quad, the whole handlebar meme. So CIG did post the handlebar of the new hover bike. A lot of people just kind of don't care that much. A new hover bike, we have so many, they're useless. I mean, where's the hover car, CIG? That's what we really want. Then we have custom lobbies. This is very cool. This allows us to play with our friends and not have to worry about people messing with us. And then new flight map, Miner's Lament. Okay, so kind of a big roadmap roundup. CAG dropped a lot. Uh, you know, I think we went into a lot of details about everything that's going on with 323. This is a big patch for CIG. I really just want them to keep it in the oven. I want them to take their time and do it right and make it good. I know that, there's a lot of hype around it. and I, I'm not too hyped up. Test it, you know. If you can't test it, watch the YouTube videos, engage on Reddit. Uh, the kind of wait and see attitude, I feel like, is just a little bit more healthy. Of course, CIG wants to hype it up. It plays a big part into sales. Sales funds the game. Funding the game allows them to do things. These things go hand in hand. And I don't blame CIG for it. But this kind of over ambition, we're going to get so much stuff in. We're working on base building. We'll go, go, go. We're talking about 1.0. We got to be very careful with the hype. It's been 10 years of hype. I know, you know, hype has been keeping this game alive, but what we have now is good. I personally think that the game is good and the game just keeps getting better. Let's just keep our heads down and keep it moving. We don't have to, sell this crazy dream anymore. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you guys could disagree with it in the comments down below, but I don't think CIG needs to sell these crazy dreams anymore. Just put your head down and make the game that you want to make. The players are here to play that game. I'm not going anywhere. I have this whole YouTube channel. I'm playing the game all the time. The game's fun. I enjoy it. When it works, there's nothing else like it. And I don't see anybody even attempting anything close, to be perfectly honest with you. I made a video about that. There's just, again, 10 years of development in what we have so far already, that I think it is a good foundation to actually make content. So I think CIG just needs to get the underlying tech done so they can start focusing on that content. So yeah, 323 is very big. Some people are disappointed. Again, understandable, but it's one of those things where you can't get yourself hyped up for this stuff. You gotta remember that anything can happen. This is software development. This is game development. Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah, just remember, hype makes you crazy. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me here today, you guys. Good update. I am still excited for 323. It's gonna be a big patch. EVA, the maps. There's so much to look forward to, even with the things that CIG removed. So I'm not down on it. I'm still very excited for this patch to come out and be able to play it more. I've been testing a lot. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me here today. Like I always say at the end of these videos, you guys, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute.